everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, January 15th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search and Roundtable at seroundtable.com. First up, we saw massive fluctuations in the Google search results, which I reported on Sunday morning. Usually I don't report these things on Sunday morning, but I did because it was pretty massive. And it turned out that Google confirmed later on that this was a core ranking algorithm update. So Google said yes, there was an update this over the weekends at some point, and specifically it was core search ranking update, which means it wasn't a Panda, it wasn't a Penguin or whatever. They said it was a core ranking, it wasn't Penguin, but there was an update this weekend. Google confirmed that. Later on, we noticed that in an article written by Jennifer Slegg, that she said that she got a comment from Google basically saying that the Panda algorithm is now part of the core search ranking algorithm, which updated this weekend. So we had that news also. So what does that mean? Google's Panda algorithm, which used to run by itself at some points, yearly, every few months, or whatever it might be, is now part of the core search ranking algorithm. So that's what Google told the community. And again, Panda is part of the overall core ranking algorithm. That doesn't mean it's real time, which we covered a little bit later. Said, it's not a real time algorithm, it's just part of the algorithm. So now I'm going to go deeper into what does this mean. So even though there was a core ranking algorithm update this weekend, and even though Panda is supposedly part of that whatever happened this weekend didn't have there was no update to the Panda stuff this weekend. So the core ranking algorithm this weekend didn't have any Panda in it. That's what Google said. Got that, okay? Let's move on. Also, so you understand how Panda works, or worked, or whatever it is, a site is a site-wide score. If you get hit by a Panda and you have any Panda penalty at all, it's going to be site-wide. And that score is assigned to this site, okay? Those scores are not and have not been calculated in real time. It's calculated whenever they decide to calculate it. And then that's pumped into the algorithm at some point. It seems like the scores, even though it's part of the core algorithm, are still not real time. And they're not generated in real time based on a hangout that John Mueller answered where he basically said, no, they're not real time, at least the scores are not. Going on. But since it's part of the core ranking algorithm, John Mueller did say that he thinks the Panda updates within the core ranking algorithm will happen more regularly and faster because it's part of this algorithm. It's still not real time. It's still not happening every day. It still obviously might not happen when there is a core ranking update, which happened this weekend because Google said there was no Panda update this past weekend, but it will happen more regularly according to Google's John Mueller. Keep going. This morning, John Mueller said that webmasters will most likely not even notice when there's Panda updates going on in the future because it's part of the core ranking algorithm. He said that. He said you probably won't notice it because it's so rolled into the algorithm. But even though it's rolled into the algorithm, it's still not real time. And again, going back to what's real time, I guess the algorithm, it does probably run all the time, but those Panda scores are not real time. So that's what he said again. You probably won't notice it. Again, that doesn't surprise me because with Panda 4.2, most webmasters didn't notice it. So already we were noticing that Panda algorithm wasn't being as noticed as much by webmasters. Some did notice it. I noticed it, but some people did not. Going further, Gary from Google answered a question, basically asking, the question was, Panda is now part of the core ranking algorithm. Doesn't mean that Panda will be updated automatically, not manually, even if it's not real time. And Gary said we do continue to update the data, which is used to recognize high quality sites. We roll that data out over time. Sometimes we have to make manual updates, and sometimes it's automatic, but that generally doesn't play into the role of how the data is rolled out. So yeah, it's both manual, it's both automatic, and the data seems to be updating it manually. It seems, from understanding that. Furthermore, we're still trying to understand what the difference is now that Panda is part of the core ranking algorithm, and it's hard to know. John Mueller said in a video hangout this week, "I really don't have a good answer for you." He said that. So now, one last thing on Panda. I'm sorry for taking so much time on Panda, but it was a Panda week this week, I guess. This morning in a hangout, this morning or last night on Google Plus, Gary also answered a question by Kenenche Suzuki. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right on Google Plus. He said, "What is the core ranking algorithm at all? How is it different from the algorithms that aren't part of it?" And Gary said, and I'll read this to you, I think this is really the worst takeaway of the past few days. He wasn't happy that Google gave a comment that it's a core ranking algorithm, that is part of it. But imagine an engine of a car. It used to be that there were no starters. I guess the button, the key to start the engine. The driver had to go in front of the car and use a tool to start the engine, kind of like when you rev up a lawnmower or whatever it might be. Today, we have starters to any engine it is integrated into. Basically, the starter is integrated. You press a button, the start button, or you turn a key, and it starts the engine. It became more convenient, but essentially nothing has changed. For a user or even a webmaster, it should not matter at all which components live where. It's really irrelevant, and that's why I think people should focus more on these interesting things less. So now that Panda is integrated into the core algorithm, essentially nothing has changed with that. It might be easier for Google to start that engine and keep it going faster and faster, but nothing essentially changed. People shouldn't notice it as much, like with Panda 4.2. It should probably still take some time for it to roll out slowly, but they could probably press that button to start that engine faster now that it's fully integrated into the system. So I think that's the core difference here in terms of what it means that Panda is part of the ranking algorithm. Of course, it's unclear because they're using these analogies that really are not exactly clear. And honestly, what is Google supposed to say? They're supposed to give us the secret sauce completely. The more Google gives us, the more transparency they provide, the more questions we have, the more we think they're hiding stuff from us. So it's like a losing battle for them. But at the same time, once they give information, they're kind of stuck. So anyway, off of Panda's topic, let's go into other stuff. Google, a lot of webmasters are noticing more and more hacked content in Google. Truth is, there's lots of fluctuations going on right now. Lots of changes. People are noticing local ranking changes. People are noticing things, maybe Penguin being tested, and all this hacked content is going on. So there's a lot of confusion about what's going on in the search results. It seems something's in limbo, and I assume Google's looking into it, but who knows. Moz reported that of the first 10 results in the search results, of the 10,000 queries they track, 25% of those are showing HTTPS results. Of course, Wikipedia is probably most of that, but at the same time, you can see the Moz tracker, 25% since Google started indexing HTTPS by default in mid-December. Talking about HTTPS, Google's cache started to show the HTTPS cache page for HTTPS sites. So again, this is kind of one of those mixed content errors. So if Google would show an HTTPS site like Wikipedia as a cache page, and they would show it on the HTTP version of the cache URL. So Google used to say, here's our cache page, it was over HTTP. Google would have an issue because the HTTPS content would be fine. But if they did the reverse, basically what's happening is, if you have HTTPS content like Wikipedia, the cache page might start showing up as HTTPS as opposed to just HTTP. This is something that Google's testing. I think it's not fully out yet, but it seems to be testing, and we caught it. Google Maps has started to test new ways to edit the map data. So if you take a look over here, you can see this is the old way of you used to submit and edit, and it used to give you this screen, but now it actually gives you something inline. Depending on how you access it, it might give you this screen, which is pretty cute. Google AdSense revised or revamped the way the optimization tab looks, giving you pretty much the same types of tips in the past, but the UI and the interface for that has changed drastically. They say they can explore new opportunities and features. They can run A/B tests, and they can find valuable optimization resources in one place. Again, this is nothing exactly new, but the interface has changed. Bing is testing a cool new widget. If you do a search for speed test or internet speed test, they're going to show you this new widget, potentially. I don't see it yet, but they can show you how fast your speed is, which is basically going to speedtest.com, same thing, but it's right in the search results, which is cool. Bing has launched a new logo as of yesterday. It's now a teal color with a capital B. So let me show you. This is the original. This is the one from just a few days ago, and this is the new one with a capital B in the teal color. Here's a higher resolution version of it if you want to take a look at that. I like the yellow one, to be honest, but what do I know? And finally, the Google Dance is back. Google Dance is something that Google used to host for SES, Search and Strategies Conference, back in 2002, 2003, 2004. And 2004 was the last time they actually had it. Now they're bringing it back to XMX West in March, I believe. So if you are going to XMX West, you get to go to the Google Dance, which is one of those historic things that people will say, yeah, I went to the Google Dance back in 2004. It really shows, that you were part of the industry back in the old days. But now they're bringing it back to XMX West. So that's pretty cool. Very looking forward to it. I'm not a big party goer, but this will be very interesting. In any event, thanks for partaking in my Google Panda Week. Everyone, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And thanks so much for listening to the Search Boss Video Recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and today is Friday, January 15th. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.